Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Shame. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about our list of movie blind spots. My name is Andy.
And I'm Adam.
And this week, we're actually going to talk about a movie from my list. It's called Lego Batman, or the Lego Batman movie, I think is the actual full title. But before we get into that, we always like to start off each episode by discussing kind of what we've been watching lately. What have you been watching lately, Adam?
So after I watched Lego Batman, I was still kind of in the Batman kind of mood. So I watched Justice League Dark, which is an animated film that came out a few years ago. Have you seen Justice League Dark?
Have not.
So, there's a lot of, with Justice League Dark, there's actually going to be a live action version of this movie that was going to be directed by the same guy who directed the Mad Max Fury Road film. But that didn't come to fruition. I really like this kind of take on the Justice League and Batman. I like the whole spell and sorcery aspect of it. And I think it's pretty interesting and adds to the mythos of Batman. I know it's probably derived from the comic books, and there's probably a long litany of comic books that come from the Justice League Dark series. But, for me, it has Batman in it, so that's a check in that box. It has Zatanna in it, who's also very cool. And it has Etrigan, which is one of my favorite people from the Batman the Animated Series. Do you remember Etrigan at all?
No. I was going to say the people you're naming other than Batman, I'm like, who? Well, who's that? Well,
so Zatanna, so Batman, when he was studying and when he was learning all the skills he needed to be before he became Batman, he studied magic under Zatanna's father. I think his name is Zatara or Zara. And Zatanna was kind of his love interest a little bit.
Okay.
They had a fling. I don't know how much of that's canon or animated series canon, but it definitely happened in the animated series. And Etrigan's one of my favorite characters because he is like this. He comes from the medieval times of the Warner Brothers universe, and in there they have Morgan Le Fay, who we know from like the Camelot series and stuff. But there's actually a character in the DC universe for Morgan Le Fay and a Merlin and all the kind of King Arthur kind of characters. And Etrigan / Jason Blood come from that era where Jason Blood was mortally wounded, and then Etrigan, he gets his soul bound to a demon called Etrigan. And in order for the demon to come out or be called, he has to do a cool little rhyme scheme. It's very cool.
Huh.
I would recommend checking it out. My only negative thing I have to say about these new, because DC is doing a bunch of these kind of Batman movies every year and Justice League movies every year. My only negative thing I have to say about them is they all look the same. Like, they need to go in and do different character designs or something, because I am kind of over the way all the characters look the same. Like, they have that kind of anime-esque look to them, which, I can enjoy. But, since Justice League Paradox, since, Batman Bad Blood, Batman First Year, all these new animated movies, they just kind of have the same general character design, and I'm not a big fan of it. But overall, I like the movie. So, just kind of in the same vein of what we've been watching, I've also started watching Locke and Key on Netflix, so I'm going to hold off on talking about that until I see it. But, so far, so good. So, Andy, what have you been watching?
So speaking of anime or animation, and really in particular anime, I watched a movie that's fairly recent. I think it's 2016 maybe. It's called Your Name.
I heard about that. I heard that's good.
Okay.
It's a foreign film.
Yeah, it's a Japanese animation film. I don't remember who the guy is that directed it, but a lot of people compare it to the Studio Ghibli movies. Yep. They're saying it's a masterpiece, et cetera, et cetera. I thought it was good. I don't think I quite fell under its spell like other people that I read online gushing over it. It was a solid film. I felt like the plot was pretty original. It kept me interested the whole time. I mean, I definitely wanted to see what happened. I would recommend it, but I wasn't just over the moon about it. In addition to Your Name, I watched Ma from 2019, and Ma was not animated, and if I would, more like blah instead of Ma, because it stunk. Honestly, I had high hopes for it. I thought that it was going to be a good horror film. We were kind of talking about this earlier. nothing happens in it forever. And I kept thinking, okay, if this is a slow burn horror movie and there's a great payoff at the end, I might could get behind it. But the payoff sucks. I mean, there's no payoff. I mean, it's crappy. I think it was fairly well received critically, but I thought it stunk. In addition to Ma, I watched another movie called Man Up. Ever heard of that one? With Simon Pegg and Lake Bell.
Wait, is that from a few years ago? That's like 2015?
15, I think. Yeah. I watched that. It's a nice little rom-com. I like Simon Pegg. Yeah. I honestly, I don't think I've seen Lake Bell in hardly anything. I know she's in some of the Wet Hot American Summer stuff on Netflix. So that's probably the only things that I've ever seen her in. But I like her a lot. I thought she has good comic timing. I thought her and Simon Pegg did well together. One thing I will say, and you've heard me criticize people for this before, when non-Americans do American accents or when Americans do non-American accents, a lot of times it's kind of iffy. Is with some actors and actresses more than others. But Lake Bell's, she's American. The whole thing takes place in England. Her British accent is phenomenal.
Oh, really?
I thought
you were gonna. Oh man,
no.
I thought you were gonna be like, stay in your lane, Lake Bell.
No.
Language lane.
No, and I think I was reading somewhere that I guess she went to some schooling over there in England or something like that. But her accent I thought was spot on. Anyway, I liked that film, so I watched another film that Lake Bell actually wrote and directed called In a World.
Yep.
Which
that's really good. I thought it was very informative. It's about voiceover acting, right?
Yeah, and so and I enjoy that sort of thing. So I thought that I would like it, but I thought it was just too unfocused and all over the place. I thought Man Up was a lot better, although she didn't write and direct Man Up. Man Up.
I watched In a World when it came out, and I thought it was like, I mean, it's not a documentary, is it? It's a documentary.
No, it's not a documentary.
Okay, then maybe I don't remember it as well as I thought. But I like the whole inside of baseball nature of it. Maybe I haven't seen it.
I just felt like it was all over the place. I didn't feel like it had much of a story, honestly. It was all over. And there's a subplot involving Lake Bell's sister in the movie, which I thought didn't belong in the movie at all. It's really weird.
Really bad.
Yeah. But I would recommend Man Up, and I would recommend Your Name. You might really enjoy that. So
with Your Name, did you watch it with subtitles or did you watch it dubbed?
Subtitles. Right, I don't really like to watch stuff dubbed, although I felt like the subtitles, I mean, it made sense to me, but it also translates the songs. There's a lot of songs that go, and I thought those translations were really bad. Either that or these were some of the most nonsensical lyrics I've ever heard in a song. I wish I wrote down some examples because I was like, surely that's not what he's actually saying. But the actual dialogue in the movie I didn't have a problem with. The subtitle translations. But yeah, the songs, it was just bizarre. So just bad. Very weird stuff. Yeah.
Are they like Rammstein Du Hast kind of lyrics?
Maybe something.
And Du Riech's so good.
But that's what I've watched this week.
There's a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
So with that, let's talk about Lego Batman.
Lego Batman.
I see. Sir, if you don't mind my saying, I'm a little concerned. I've seen you go through similar phases in 2016 and 2012 and 2008 and 2005 and 1997 and 1995 and 1992 and 1989 and that weird one in 1966. Do you want to talk about how you're feeling right now?
So let me give a little intro to Lego Batman. Lego Batman's a movie that came out in 2017. It was directed by Chris McKay and it was written by Seth Grahame-Smith, the same guy who wrote Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh. Never seen it?
So you have that.
Always wanted to.
So Lego Batman is obviously animated movie that takes place in the Lego universe. It borrows characters from the Lego movie that came out just the year before. And it's about Batman living his life. He adopts spoiler alert, he adopts Robin and he's trying to put the Joker away, but deep down inside, he's kind of got to learn that he can't do it himself, and he's got to take on a Bat family and crunch those abs.
Yeah. So for me,
what'd you think?
I liked it. I obviously this is a movie from my list. I've not seen it. I had not seen any of the Lego movies. I love Batman,
Yeah.
and I thought this movie was a lot of fun. I thought it was funny. I liked the little in jokes and the references and all the different villains like Condiment King and all these people that I've never heard of, and the fact that they have other villains that are outside the Batman universe, like the Kraken and the Wicked Witch and the Daleks from Doctor Who, Voldemort, etc. I enjoyed it. I think I need to watch more animated films, and of course, my list has a lot of animated films on it. I have nothing against animated films. I just don't watch them very often. I did see, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and we actually went and saw Coco together, which
was like your first enjoyed. Pixar movie you saw
in quite a while. So I've missed out on a lot of that stuff. I think I just need to watch more animated films because at this point I kind of watch them and I go, oh, that was fun or that was pleasant, and then I just forget about it unless it's a very serious like anime Grave of the Fireflies type thing that's very, oh gosh, something like that. But a lot of these, I don't want to call it fluff or anything like that, but I watch it and I go, yeah, and then I move on.
So my biggest worry with this movie, and my question to you, and I have a couple questions, is I was worried that you were going to think it was too silly.
No, I mean, I think I kind of knew what to expect.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was too silly.
So that was my biggest worry was, just the silly factor. Because I didn't, like you said, you don't see a lot of animated or children's movies, I guess. Yeah. And I just worry that, these things might be a little silly because it is a very much a spoof. I think it's a lot in the line of those Lego video games and stuff where it's very meta and self-referential and all that kind of stuff. And it's very, very silly of a movie.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about how I first saw it because I think it kind of leads into a little bit of what movie we paired this with. And so what happened was Lego Batman came out and I wasn't that interested in seeing it. And then I got a call from my friend Andrew, another Andrew I'm friends with. And he said that he said he just saw the movie. And I'm pretty sure he said he just saw the movie that morning. And he says it's the best Batman movie he's ever seen.
That's high praise.
High praise.
Yeah.
And that I should go see it. And not only that he's coming up here to see me so we can go see it together. So it was with that kind of introduction that I saw Lego Batman.
Okay.
I don't think it's the best Batman movie that I've seen, but I really like the movie.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of love for Batman in this movie. And, with the current, DC movies leading up to it, where Batman's dour, the whole universe is dour, it's kind of a breath of fresh air to see Batman kind of taking on this kind of, this vibe with the movie.
And honestly, I found that to be a little jarring. I mean, I know that it's supposed to be funny and played for laughs, and it was. I was never thinking, oh, how dare they do that with the Batman character? But it was a little different because I'm so used to him being this brooding, world's greatest detective kind of guy. So,
and if you take a adult kind of, I don't want to say adult, but an intellectual perspective, that Batman doesn't seem like he would be able to solve anything because he's just like not with it, because they play for comedy, right? So he's supposed to not be as aware of his environments as a character like that, as the world's greatest detective would be.
Yeah, he's kind of clueless and honestly a little insufferable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And so that leads me to the next question because that's something I was going to ask you. So I asked Andy to see this movie, and I didn't realize how much it ties into the Lego movie. It does a little bit. There's some connective tissue, especially with, I think, actors sharing the role across different movies. And, Superman makes an appearance and, the Justice League makes an appearance and they're also in the Lego movie. So I know that you watched the Lego movie afterwards. Did you feel like you needed to see the Lego movie to kind of enjoy this movie, or what was that like?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really bother me seeing them out of order. It wasn't a big deal.
The other thing I think the movie did was I think they improved their visual technique from the Lego movie to this movie. There was I think like a 12-month or 12-month time difference between the two movies. And I think the way they rendered the fire and the way they rendered the Legos looks a lot better in Lego Batman than it did in Lego Movie.
So had you seen the Lego Movie before you saw Lego Batman?
I did. The Lego Movie, when I saw it in theaters, and it was probably the worst movie experience I've ever had.
Oh, I want to hear more about that.
So, we're fans of the Alamo Drafthouse.
Yes.
Please sponsor our podcast. I saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse, and the guy next, and so we're at a family film, and we're at a late night showing. I think we saw it opening weekend, so we either saw it on a Friday or Saturday. And the guy next to me brought his young kids, and he proceeded to order shots of Patron or some kind of tequila
For his kids.
Yes, for his kids. He's like, I need 3. No, but he did. He ordered a bucket of beer and a bunch of shots, and he proceeded to take those and drink those.
Wow.
While watching the movie. So I'm watching this happy, fun children's movie with this guy that's with this wafting smells of alcohol and tequila just coming my way. And then he got so drunk that towards the end of the movie, he pulled out his cell phone and he was filming the video screen and taking pictures of himself and his kids and the thing. And I know at Alamo you can raise an order card to get a server's attention, but I figured someone with their phone in their hands would be
probably a big red flag.
Red flag, and you would see him. And no one did anything to stop him from doing that. And I was like, this, and it kind of really soured my my watching of that movie.
I can imagine.
So that was hands down the worst the worst experience I've had.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is not the Alamo Drafthouse podcast, but we've had a wide range of experiences with customers there, and I have too at other theaters too, and that was just one of them. It was nightmare fuel.
So what was it? So you liked obviously aside from that experience, you enjoyed the movie. How come why do you feel that you weren't as keen on watching Lego Batman until Andrew suggested it to you?
So for me, it's hard for me to get over Will Arnett's voice. Okay. Like it's a choice, and obviously it's there for comedic purposes. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's just grating, and I didn't think he was good in small doses in the Lego Movie. And a lot of the gags was him thinking he's awesome, but he's really not awesome.
Right.
So I didn't know, kind of like what we're talking about. I didn't know how that was going to play out for a full movie where he's having to, battle mastermind criminals or put the Joker away and all that kind of stuff when he's just like, the one gag I think of in the Lego movies where he's like throwing a bunch of batarangs and like after like 100 or hundreds of them, he finally hits it. And he's like, yes, first try.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if I can watch a whole movie of him doing that. And I think they found a really good balance of that in this Lego Batman movie. And I do enjoy it a lot, but I was just worried that it was just going to be him fumbling through the whole movie ineptly. And then at the end, he would just kind of like almost like a Mr. Magoo kind of way of going through it a little bit, where, he happens to resolve it luckily because of circumstances or because the movie calls for it rather than him using his intellect and stuff like that. Because like Batman's my favorite comic book hero. So we're going to talk about this with our next movie. I have a pretty strong view of him, or a pretty solid view of how I want to see him, that were formed by, my first exposures to the character and stuff like that. So when he deviates too much from that, that foundational view I have of him, or that idealized view I have of him, it's hard for me to kind of enjoy it and stuff.
Well, apparently they've got a Lego Batman 2 movie in the works. I saw that on IMDb when I was kind of looking up information on the Lego Batman movie. Yeah, I do have it.
So I wanted to talk about, since we're talking about Will Arnett, let's talk about all the other kind of voice casts with it and stuff. So what'd you think about Zach Galifianakis as the Joker?
I thought he was fine. I mean, I don't have much of an opinion on Zach Galifianakis. I don't like him. Well, I don't dislike him.
Whoa.
Excuse me.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I do like Zach Galifianakis, but I don't watch his basket show. I honestly have not watched, I don't think, hardly any, maybe one of the Between Two Ferns thing,
Yeah.
but he's great in Bubble Boy. But no, I mean, I didn't have a problem. I thought he was good.
I thought he was a really good Joker. I
Yeah.
really liked his voice on Joker. I thought he played it pretty well, and I like the way that Joker's rendered. Like, if we're talking about, you know, the new Joker movie and the Heath Ledger Joker and the Jack Nicholson Joker, I think the Lego look of that Joker looks really cool. I think it's a very interesting look to it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the performances went in the movie, even if I don't particularly like an actor or an actress, I think it's a lot different when they're just doing the voice for something. Michael Cera, honestly, he kind of always plays the same character, right, in every movie that he's in. But I didn't mind him as Robin.
No, I
honestly.
thought like you. There's few things that I can enjoy Michael Cera in. I think part of it is that we got too much of him at one point, and I just think I need like a break.
Yeah,
Michael Cera were on a break.
Yeah,
but I thought he was really good in the Lego Batman. I think the other interesting thing is the Two-Face is the Billy D. Williams Two-Face.
Yes,
that was very cool.
I thought that was
from
cool.
the original Batman. So, what do you think about all the references? We kind of talked about this a little bit beforehand, but you know, there's flashbacks to the 1966 Batman. There's flashbacks to, you know, Justice League and Batman vs Superman and the Burton Batmans and the Nolan Batmans.
Yeah, I'm not sure I got everything. I mean, I do love Batman, but I'm not hugely up to date on the comic books and all of that stuff. I think a lot of that stuff probably landed for me. I dug the shark repellent, of course.
Shark repellent is pretty cool.
How could you not? Yeah. And I love in the photo that he has outside of the theater or whatever, it's Crime Alley, which is where they're going to go. And his,
I didn't even
his
catch
parents
that.
are
That's awesome.
that's the street name. Is Crime Alley. So his
awesome.
parents, how dare they walk down Crime Alley? Because of course they get murdered, which we've seen in every Batman movie, just about. Except we don't see that. We don't see that in this movie. That's so that is a definite plus.
Yes,
we don't see Thomas and Martha Wayne get killed yet again, thankfully.
And you can just tell that they love the Batman franchise. Like
Absolutely.
with all the villains they brought in. One of the things I want to call out is the Killer Croc. They use the Lego crocodile head on the Killer Croc. You know, the little thin Lego crocodile head, but it has like the big.
Oh
beefy body.
Yeah, okay.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Like that is hilarious. That is awesome. Yes. I giggle and it makes me so happy inside whenever I think about it. I think that's pure genius. Whoever did that was awesome.
Well, and I like the fact they used the Phantom Zone and all of that stuff. I thought that it had a lot of. Again, we already mentioned having the Gremlins and other villains that aren't Batman villains, but just having all these different pop culture kind of references kind of creeping in. I thought that was really cool. It's definitely a movie that I need to watch again because I know there's a lot of stuff that I missed, right? I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, oh crap, I didn't see that the first time. So,
and I think the movie is a really good example of good storytelling because there's a lot of foreshadowing that you have in the movie. And a lot of things that are initially played for jokes that kind of get resolved in the end, right? So for the beginning part of the movie, there's that Michael Jackson quote, that's from the song. And then he says it, right?
Yeah.
But it essentially the song is that you have to change yourself. And that's basically the whole theme for the whole movie is Batman's got to realize he can't do this alone. He's got to change himself, right? So, that's a joke that's thrown in the beginning, but in the end it gets resolved. The other thing is, the abs, right? So he has a 9-pack, he says. He has that hidden extra ab. And then, at the denouement, or is that, a climax? I guess denouement is after a climax. At the climax, right? Yeah.
Sure. Denouement is like a resolution, right? That would be the end.
Yeah, okay, so you have the climax, right? They have to crunch their abs to bring the city together.
Yes.
So it's another thing where, like I said, I feel like maybe it's not a foreshadowing, but like these callbacks and stuff that I feel like,
brings it back around, ties it together. Sure.
That they really spent their time like when they're developing these movies. And animated movies can do this because, it takes 4 or 5 years to kind of animate these movies. And so I think they spent a lot of time just like honing the story and making sure that everything kind of falls full circle. So that's kind of the things I really like on this movie is that from a storytelling, what did I say? I said it wrong. From a storytelling perspective, there we go. I think they spent a lot of time just making sure that all their T's were crossed and their I's were dots and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So
Producers laughing.
Yeah, producers laughing at us. Let's one last question and then we can end this one up.
Let's do it.
So what do you want to see for Lego Batman 2?
Oh man. You got me there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or what more, less, what would you like to...
Well, I mean, obviously in this one they throw in like tons and tons of Batman villains, so I can't say, oh, well, they didn't have this villain or that villain. I mean, they had Eggman, is that right?
Eggman,
and Condiment King and Calendar Man and Gentleman Ghost and you name it, they had it. So I don't know as far as like villain is concerned. I'm not sure. I mean, this one, it's Batgirl in this one, right? It's not Batwoman. Barbara Gordon.
Barbara Gordon's always been Batgirl, though, I think.
Right. And obviously we don't want to. I don't think in Lego Batman 2 they're gonna go the comics route where she gets shot and paralyzed by the Joker. That's probably a little too dark for children. Yeah, I don't think we want to go that route. So let's not go there. I don't know. And in this one, sorry, I'm not answering your question, but I'm jumping back to I forgot to mention I did like Robin is very briefly Nightwing. Yeah, right. He puts on the Nightwing costume just for a second.
No,
right?
No. He puts on like the Bat Liberace costume that looks a lot like Nightwing.
Oh, okay. So I thought for some reason I thought he tried on the Nightwing costume.
I do think like a Nightwing would be interesting.
Yeah.
But is he? He says he's Well, he says he's Robin, but do we? No, he says his name is Dick because Batman goes, "Yeah, kids are cruel like that." Like, so there's a joke.
He's Dick Grayson, right? Yeah.
For me, I was just thinking about this. So with the Lego Movie, sorry, there's something blowing in the air. So with the Lego Movie, there was the twist at the end was, that Will Ferrell's character was real and they're playing in a toy room kind of thing, like that. So running with that idea, it would be interesting if we take Batman's greatest nemesis, in my opinion, which is Ra's al Ghul.
Okay. And
make Ra's al Ghul a real person.
Is it going to be Liam Neeson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think it'd be interesting if they. I mean, obviously, we're not writing this.
Or is it going to be Liam Neeson as good cop, bad cop? Oh, yeah. No. Sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
Yeah. No, but I think it'd be interesting if like you have Batman, super meta, super self-aware, fighting a real life person, and you have that kind of conflict where how much can he interact with a real person, and maybe his greatest nemesis is a real life person. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be interesting if they kind of did like they did in the Lego Movie, where it has some live action in there. And,
I mean, they threw everything at this one, so I'm sure it's in good hands, and they're gonna do more. But hey, let's just take it meta and just try to figure out some crazy way of telling it.
Well, I know Will Arnett has kind of gone on record saying it's difficult for him to do the voice, right? So I don't know how much more we're going to see outside of Lego Batman 2. This may be the end of it, aside from small cameos in future Lego movies or something like that. I don't know if we're going to have another feature-length one after part 2. So they better
do everything.
They better do it right. Yeah, they better.
And the other thing is, and I'm probably going to be the only person that says this, I could take less bat rapping and bat singing. Like, that doesn't do anything for me. Yeah. But maybe I'm the only one here.
Yeah, well, I didn't have much of an opinion on that either way. Like, I can see why they did it, I guess, just for fun, and because I'm sure people eat it up. Sure, yeah. So,
all right. Well, that was our review on Lego Batman, a movie that I've seen, a movie that Andy hasn't seen,
and I will watch it more to get more references.
So we both enjoy it. We both like it.
Yep.
So, so my producers tell me that you can see Will Arnett on Lego Masters. I don't know why. Are we sponsored by Fox? I don't know. But you can see him on there. So, shoot us a question, like us, comment, subscribe. We're realshame@gmail.com, realshame on Instagram, and realshame at YouTube. So we look forward to seeing you. And next time we're talking about Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, and we'll talk about why I chose that movie.
Yes.
All right, see you guys next time.